Good evening everybody, Calm Biker here with Graham. Well, we've had a lovely cup of tea and a nice chat, and now we're going to head home, and we're heading in the wrong direction because we live over there behind us. But I watched one of his videos the other day and I said, I've never been down that road where you went, where's that? And he said, I'll show you. So we're heading off into the little tiny lanes that he likes. On this bike, not a problem. On the Z, very painful on the posterior. It's delightful getting out on an evening like this. It's been such a weird year. I bought this bike July the 1st, or picked it up July the 1st. Every day in July it rained. Most of August it rained. It's been cold and miserable, and then I took 2 weeks off. Last week of August, first week of September. It's the first week of September now. Is he going out for a jog or having an episode? It's hard to tell. I think he's going for a jog. He's not collapsed. And I've been really lucky with the weather these 2 weeks so far. It's now the Wednesday of my second week off, and it's been 30 odd degrees today. There was talk on the weather forecast of, if it hits the temperature they think it might hit, it'll be the first time in a million years or something, which obviously is an exaggeration, but you know, some other record. So it's lovely on an evening like this when it's been roasting and quite a sweaty day, just to get the vents open and get on the bike and have that lovely cooling. I tried it the other day. I went to Matlock Bath for the first time. Overrated. I might have said that on another video already. And my vents didn't seem to be doing much, and it was only when I got there and tried to peel my jacket off that I realised I'd left the winter lining in. That was why I was hot. What a lovely little place this is. Couldn't tell you what it's called. Graham, please, in the comments tell me what it's called. He's often gone about Fairydale, I think, but I don't think this is Fairydale. Very pretty. That way to Beardale, this way to Off-Roadsville. I guess these roads don't get used very much, by the way there's actually a lawn growing in the middle of it. Here's a question for you. Earplugs. I suffer with tinnitus. Talked about that in the past. And trying to keep my hearing keep the damage down as much as possible. So I tend to ride with earplugs most of the time. And I've been using those foamy ones that you use a couple of times and then throw away. It seems very wasteful. The other day I bought some lug guard moldable earplugs. It's supposedly enough to make 2 to 3 sets. Well, in my case it was about 2.5. So I made a set following the instructions, and they were just massively uncomfortable. So I said, right, I'll try again. I made some a little bit smaller. Filled up too much of my ears with the first ones, I think, but the second set just kept falling out. What I found was, while I was moulding them, they gave a perfect seal because they're effectively stuck into your ear. I mean, they go in as a putty and come out as a hard plastic almost. So I was quite excited by the idea of them when they were moulding, because they were cutting out lots and lots of noise. But I have to say, when I tried riding with them, they didn't cut out anywhere near as much noise as just my foamy ones for 3M, I think they are. I've also tried the kind of soft rubbery ones that have got kind of like 3 kind of cones stuck together, that you can push into your ears, but I find they tend to get pushed in too far and cause pain. So is there anything else? Anything people would recommend as a good buy for earplugs that actually give you some good defence and aren't painful and don't fall out? The ones when I moulded them smaller, the right one fell out. I think Graham's been unfortunate with this weather this week, because the weather has been, well, the last week and a half has been amazing. It's supposed to be the same up until the end of this week. But unfortunately, because he's between bikes, because the Africa Twin's gone and he's waiting for the NT to be delivered, he's not really been able to go any distance. It's been, I think it's been monkey-tastic for him though. And that thing is hilarious. I did suggest we swap bikes for the ride back, so that he could have a try on mine, but he ain't got a camera on his helmet tonight, so to do it when he's got a camera on, so he can give his thoughts on my little 500X. So where has this actually come out then? Oh right, the 1248, one of my favourite roads. Can we have more lanes, please? I'm enjoying the lanes.
Again.
Can we have more lanes?
Yeah, I was sitting back too far on it. It was bogging down.
All right.
Put it to first and tried to do that.
Now that I would like to see.
Yeah. Shall we go that way first?
Okie doke. When you look at this area from above, it is a kind of patchwork quilt of tiny roads. So there are the main roads like this one, which is only a B road, the B1248 for software developers, you know. The around it though, there's just lots and lots of tiny little roads, and some of them are horrendous or have been when I've been taking, you know, Z1000 down them. So it's quite nice to take a bike around that's got a compliant suspension. And Graham knows which ones are which because he rides them all the time. This is the other cafe that we frequent often, is just in those trees. And if you're a watcher of Graham's videos, he often goes to the trains where they do making the trains better. What a terrible way of putting it. That's over there where those kind of tent-like structures are. Making the trains better, refurbishing trains and carriages. The Fat Controller made Thomas better. It's that, isn't it? Do they still have the Fat Controller? That's probably not PC, is it? While we were having our cup of char, we were discussing bike names. Graham's over there on Woody. She said maybe you should have called it Beast. I suggested Kong, and I stand by that. And I've settled. It's not quite, it doesn't suggest red, but I think it's fun enough that I am gonna go with Yorkshire pudding for this bike. I said that to Graham. He said, well, you never know, you might get some sudden inspiration. So yeah, it's always possible I could be filling in the form to change its name by deed poll, but at the minute she is the pudding. For those of you who don't know, Yorkshire pudding is a strange concoction. Basically it's a batter, flour and milk and I think eggs. Long time since I've made a Yorkshire pudding, but basically it's a batter, and you put it in incredibly hot oil. It has to be really, really, really hot oil, and effectively when you pour it in, you get a little disc of the batter, and if it's done correctly, it forms almost into a sphere. so the edges curl up and it turns over on itself, and you get an empty or a hollow sphere almost, but it has a little hole in the top. And then depending on what you're making, you can put sausages in it, or potato, or gravy, whatever it might be. As a child I couldn't stomach them, but because we were from Yorkshire you had to have them with your Sunday roast back when I ate meat. But I couldn't stomach them as a savoury thing, so my mother would take them out, so she wouldn't do those ones in gravy. Everybody else would have them in gravy, but my brother and I, we would have them separately with treacle, golden syrup. So they could even be a sweet thing, even though they are themselves, despite being called a pudding, are not sweet. I'll tell you what, they're sweet once they've got golden syrup on them. Golden syrup and sometimes custard. No wonder I ended up diabetic. People said about the Yorkshire Rose for the name of the bike, but the reason I can't is that is a Yorkshire Rose. Very hard to see on that flag, but that's a Yorkshire Rose. The key thing about the Yorkshire Rose is it's white, and this bike is red. And that probably doesn't mean a lot, but if you know the north of England, the red rose, that's from the other side of the country. We can't have that, can we? Wars have been fought, literally. So if it was a white CB500X, maybe it would have been the Yorkshire Rose, but as a red one, can't be done. Another lane I've not been on before, I don't think. They're a lot friendlier, the lanes around here, than they are down south. I used to go and visit my grandfather. He lived in Devon. As a kid I'd go down there, and well, with the family, obviously not by myself, and we'd go and see them. Lived in Torbay, and some of the roads around there are like this in terms of width of road. Ooh, a deer. Don't know if the camera will pick that up. Deer flying across the field. I shall keep it easy, because where there's one there's often more. Yeah, they'd be as narrow as this, but the bushes would be 10 or 12 feet high, and rather than being set, I can't show you now because they're not, but the bits up here are set back, so there's some grass and then the bushes. There would be no grass, there would just be bushes at the edge of the road, so if you're driving a car along, you're kind of skimming the bushes both sides as you went. And he used to drive a Datsun Z car. I think it was a 300Z, something like that, or a 280 or something. Back then it were a fast car. We're talking late 70s, maybe early 80s. And he used to whiz around those country lanes at terrifying speeds. I used to absolutely love it because I was young enough that I had no fear of death, and my parents would be scared rigid. These are quite nice. You're just pootling along. If I was on, not in a Z car, but on the Z bike, I'd probably be going a lot faster. That bike just wants to go quick, so I'd probably be doing 60 miles an hour for most of this. Something about this one though, just a nice gentle, what we're doing, 30 miles an hour. I mean, 30 miles an hour motorbike ride doesn't it doesn't seem right, does it? But there's just something nice about this bike, just kind of sitting and pootling along, enjoying the sights, the smells. Not all the smells, some of this is quite manure-y. But most of the smells and the sights, and even the bits that I can get past the earplugs, the sounds of the countryside. and the little put of the bikes. It's a different feeling altogether. Strange, isn't it, how different bikes can just have put you into a completely different mode, different way of thinking. This is proper middle of nowhere. Wonderful. Looks like we're heading back into civilization. More's the pity. So maybe I'll just wrap this one up. So, nearly had that bird then. So thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for the route, Graham. Thoroughly enjoyable. Ride safe, everyone. And I'll talk to you all again soon.